Norton's Norton and Democratic strategist Atima Amara to talk about the top and bottom accomplishments of the Trump administration. Hello to both of you.
Hey.
All right, so we asked you for three, and we have some varying numbers here, but the one thing you both agreed on was Neil Gorsuch as an achievement. And Atima, I'll start with you. Tell me why, what worked out in this favor here.
Yeah, I would say, like for any president, getting to slot a Supreme Court justice is huge. Obviously, Mitch McConnell went to some great efforts to sort of manipulate the Senate rules to get him over the finish line. So he owes a lot of that to McConnell, but it was something that, was able to happen.
What do you think he brings to the table?
Well, I think that, for conservatives who maybe didn't love a Trump candidacy, I think the fact that they were able to put a textualist on the court was a pretty big deal. So I think a lot of people were willing to vote for Trump for that exact moment.
Yeah, and they put it in campaign ads already. The first 100-day spot that came out, and they crowed about getting a Neil Gorsuch in.
Now, Atima, tell me what are some of the other achievements? Some of these kind of go in line with, we're talking about judges here. Just the continuing confirmation of federal judges was something you thought.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of, there's not been as much attention, I think, on his justices, but I think on mostly getting his cabinet, filled out. I know sometimes that can take a little bit of a while, and it did for him, and certainly finding people, but I would certainly put that in there. I would also say, of the only one bill that he's managed to pass was the Veteran VA Accountability Act, which allowed him, allowed the administration to be able to sort of take care of ineptitude within the VA, which has been a big concern across both parties.
And we'll go one more achievement, and you brought this one up in your list because we asked you beforehand. One of the big things that worked in the president's favor were these special elections, and really having a great track record, because in some of these states, granted, they were safe Republican seats, but the Democrats really threw the kitchen sink at them.
Well, and I think that Democrats, probably overplayed their hand a little bit in the sense that not really understanding what the country's thinking about Washington and how they feel about accomplishments. And I think that the special elections, even though there was a big effort put into it, and even the Georgia seat, I think it shows that that President Trump still does have a lot of support out there in some of these districts.
There was still a 20-point swing in a district that had traditionally been very Republican, though, I would say. So that was still a big win for us in that regard, to see that we even get that close.
Well, yeah, absolutely, and I would just say that even somebody can body slam a reporter and still get elected, though, in Montana, so you never know what the electorate are thinking.
And here we go. All right, Atima, I know you want to unleash your list of disappointments, so I can feel it brewing. So please let me know what your thoughts are here.
Yeah, I would say two things. One of the reasons that Trump, definitely picked up a lot with, I think, conservatives who had a more populist streak was that he promised definitely to keep jobs here in the U.S. Carrier was one of those big deals that he sort of worked out in Indiana, with Pence being outgoing governor, and a couple of other, auto industries. But unfortunately, a lot of those places still have exported jobs, so he's not really quite figured out sort of the regulations there to keep those jobs from going away. And that's been an issue for him, as well as health care. He at one point said before he was sworn in, I want everybody to be on health care, and then you have a plan that's proposed that could kick 22 to 32 million people off of health care.
And for being the deal maker that he sold himself as on the campaign trail, he seems to have not realized that negotiating in Washington is different than negotiating in the boardroom, and it works down to things like health care.
Yeah, and I think that's been one of the disappointments, in the sense that I think there was this expectation that Donald Trump, given the fact he really isn't a conservative, could kind of cross that divide and work with people like Chuck Schumer and work with people like Nancy Pelosi, and to figure out a path forward on key issues like health care, like taxes, and I think we haven't really seen that yet. So I think that has been a little bit of a disappointment.
Okay, so you would both agree on the health care being a disappointment
It was
issue.
definitely a core tenet of his campaign, and something that he campaigned along. I think that they came into this replacement kind of rhetoric kind of right when he came into office, but even so, they really need to try to figure out a comprehensive plan.
We have about 30 seconds left. I think one thing you put on your list was the travel ban is a disappointment, and I'll start with you, Atima, on that one, because I know that wasn't on your list, but let's talk about that. I mean, that's been, it didn't come out smoothly.
No, it did not. If that was going to be an accomplishment, addressing immigration and tamping down on that, the execution of that was very messy legally, and it's still an issue, and now it looks like it's going to go before the Supreme Court, so we'll see what's decided there, but it definitely wasn't the rollout that they were expecting.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's an issue. The reality is that the Homeland Security Department has this authority, and the administration really needs to get beyond this executive order.